How's everybody doing tonight? It's Kelly. Welcome to the Solution Seekers. I'm at work, but I'm not working because everybody's been asked to leave. Well, actually Friday, but I haven't been scheduled to work for about 10 days now. So, in the process of trying to file for unemployment in California, and the website crashes. So I came here and it actually works, but now I have to go back and get all of my pay stuff together, and I don't know. Anyway, that's not the point that I wanted to come on tonight and speak about. I wanted to speak on these protests, or a lack of protests, and the people are staying home. Who's right and who's wrong? You know, I like to think that we all have a responsibility for, well, some accountability for the things that we do and the things that we say. Are those who are staying at home, are they right? Well, they're following instructions, right? But are the people who are protesting, are they in the right or in the wrong? And I guess that depends on your perspective, because they're going against the laws. Well, what was asked of everybody, you know, until there's some legislation, it really doesn't become a law unless some martial law becomes enacted. I got to say one thing. I'm always impressed by people who are passionately motivated to do something. But at the end of the day, are they creating more harm, or are they right and everybody else is wrong? And I guess that it comes to a point to where I've heard, especially on social media, all these people saying, well, I've done my research, I've done this, I've done that. And the people who are staying home will say, I've done my research and this is why I'm staying home. But who's right, who's wrong? You know, I'm playing it safe, and I'm not really doing anything. I'm trying to develop myself and take this stuff as basically I'm like this. I'm not looking for a validated excuse to go out and cause more harm. Possibly. You know, so this is for somebody who used to break a lot of laws on a constant basis. But you know what? Today I don't live like that anymore, and I like to think that it's a lot better to stay safe and stay home. Try to help people who need some help. I think my purpose in all this is try to help people who really need some, maybe some emotional support. Maybe I can bring you some eggs. Like I took somebody some eggs last night, I didn't even know it, and you know, whenever I go shopping, I just pick up something and give it to somebody who needs something, you know. With everything else that's going on in my personal life, I feel crushed. But when the crushing moment comes, if I can really tell it like it is, one of the main things that I try to do is try to do something for somebody else. I think that's the true testament of the human spirit, and I always speak on the human spirit because I think that there's a lot of validity to that, because it's something that I never gravitated to before, and now as I'm evolving in all these different ways, and it's one of the sheer things that actually pays off. Like I'm in a group called Reopen California, and there's a lot of hate. But then I can look on social media, and this is just one side, because politics it's kind of like taking over everything. And you know, and at some point, regardless of what perspective you see it from, can't we just have some reasonable dialogue without the name calling, the generalized statements? And my person is better than just whatever happened to, you know, back in the days when people could just have a conversation. And I think that social media has just really jacked everything up, because you don't want anybody to have an opposing viewpoint or be able to elaborate an opposing viewpoint and convince me that your side is better, or convince me some tenets that what you're promoting are greater for the greater good of everybody else. It's not about me. It's about everybody else. You know, well, that's how it used to be. That's how I was growing up. I'm 51 years old. I'll be 52 here coming pretty soon in July. But I like to think that, no, I want to believe in people. I want to believe in American citizens. I want to believe in that they are not going to go out and arbitrarily just start harming people because they feel a certain way. All my businesses, the justification for everything else. A lot of people have lost a lot of things. I have no income coming in right now. I don't. I mean, I got the stimulus money. which I hope to invest in a business, online business. I don't know, but for the moment, I still got bills to pay. I don't have no income coming in, so I'm also an Uber driver and I work at Caltech University. You know, I don't make that much money here, but I love the job. I love it. You know, it's my dream job. But am I going to come back after all this? Who's to say? You know, when are we going to come off this lockdown? The longer, you know, I can only afford. I can only worry about what's being presented to me on a daily basis. You know, you deal with the circumstances such as has been presented, and hopefully make the right decision. And then hopefully the right decision is the best one for all intents and purposes. If it's not, well, hey, you know what? Go back and start all over again. That's the levelty. That's one of the blessings of life. You know, my key thing is having some humility and gratitude when I wake up, and just know that nobody can screw my day up but me. You know, I've had a few friends of mine that's really been struggling with mental health issues and trying to navigate the waters of all this. And I like to try to suggest to people that, you know, getting on social media and seeing all the negativity is probably not the best thing. Or what are you doing about trying to alter your perspective? I mean, mental health issues are a constant fight. But you know, here's another point that I don't think nobody's even brought up yet. Is all this going to cause a lot of trauma for a lot of people? Well, I'm used to being isolated, so this really doesn't really affect me that much. Actually, it's just like, wow. But I have all these other options that I can do. I have a PlayStation, I have the internet, I have a computer. I have tried to develop my programming skills, my Excel skills, right now I'm studying economics again because of everything that's going on. But for me, everything is on an intellectual standpoint. And intellectual pursuits is what really drives me, and it also feeds me at the same time. And I think a lot of people are just filling their time up with garbage and the uncertainty of not knowing what's going to happen. But you know what? All this stuff is out of our control. But what can you control is your emotional state at any given time, if I can tell it like it really is for myself. Because I used to let everything outside of me just control and rule me with an iron fist. But you know, and then I had to look back and say, man, why was I so erratic? Because I was always worried about everything. And you know what? The only thing I can worry about is my response. You know, when things are not going right, don't get me wrong. I got feelings. Some people wouldn't believe that if you ask them. But right, Matt. But there's a certain point to the feelings define me, because I mean we all go through things, but it doesn't have to define you. Like a friend of mine says, man, it's a lot easier to keep the beast locked up than to let it out. Then you have to chase it all around, you know. And my heart goes out to anybody who's suffering right now, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, you know. But at the end of the day, it's like, what are you doing about it to improve your situation? Are you complaining about it, or are you finding a solution? The solution seekers. You know, because I like to think that the solution is always in it, but it's going to take some communication. And having these internet friendships where you just texting back and forth, and that doesn't do it. I think there has to be some type of a physical or talking dialogue in order to see what the really problem was. But if you don't ever say anything, you're trying to hold it all in, because trust me, as tough as life gets, you never have to do it alone. You may opt to do it alone, but you don't have to. That's a choice that you have to make at any given time. The real question is, what the quality of life, how do you want it to be? Do you want people to support you? I think everybody wants people to support you, but how can you support somebody when nobody knows? Or you're trying to hold captive? See, when they would say those things that are kept in the dark will rule and define you, because a lot of people are ashamed of what people might think. But at the end of the day, who cares what anybody might think if it's going to affect your mental health, your physical health, or your personal well-being? You know, well, that's coming from my experience, because I used to have done everything alone. It wasn't until I started, you know, I found God, and that's ultimately my go-to, and music. Because when a lot of times people aren't accessible, I just go play some Tupac, play some Sade, or whoever, you know, just to get out of my mood. And you know, for a moment it works. And then, you know, and then hopefully by that time I can call some of my people and just have a conversation. But then I'll also write. If I have all this Kobe making to get all those bumps, humps, and scrapes, but they're never going to stop. But the solution is always there. I just have to find it. But I want to chime in. I hope that everybody is okay and doing well and staying healthy. And just remember, we're going to make it through this. And we never have to do nothing alone. In case nobody hasn't told you today, nobody's told you that they love you. Well, I'm telling you that I love you. Have a great night.